That orchestra was so cool.
Hello, one and all. Hello, one and all.
Hey, everybody.
We are glad to have you here on the show. Welcome, Facebook. Welcome, YouTube. No matter where you're watching us, we're glad to have you. You can comment below when we're live. We will respond with you and put you right up on the screen, that sort of thing. If you're watching the recording, then just come back and we try to keep track of the notes, and we'll be glad to respond to you through the week. And so anyway, we're glad you're here. Ida and I've had sort of a big few days here.
Yeah.
We just drove back from Holland.
Holland, yes. Holland, Michigan.
We were in Holland, Michigan, and had quite a trip to the Summer Institute on Theology and Disability, and that was an exciting time. Actually, Zach Haller originally put us onto that. We went last year to North Carolina for it, and now for the next few years, it's going to be in Holland, Michigan. It'll be about this time of year next year.
At the seminary there. It was,
at the Western Theological Seminary.
It was a really lovely location.
But there are people from all around the world that attend.
I think they said over 30 different countries or regions, so there were people from everywhere. That's what's so much fun about it, really. And it's interesting to get different perspectives from across the world.
We'll chat after the show. On the show after the show, we'll chat a little bit about what we got out of that. Sayla's coming to say hello, so come on up. Say hi to everybody.
There she is.
And but what we want to do now is we want to bring our special guest for the show, Megan Ritchey, in. So let me pop Megan up here. What?
Oh, she sees the neighbor.
No, you can't do that.
That's not going to be
bark
good.
at them.
Hi, Megan. Welcome.
No, you can't do that.
It's so good to have you
You
here.
can't do that. Stop.
How you doing tonight?
Good to be back.
It's
Good.
great to have you. So we're really excited to have Megan with us tonight. We're calling it This and That because we're really not sure from week to week what the topic will be. But tonight we kind of have our arms around it a little bit. We wanted to bring Megan on and share with you some little insight into what she's been doing lately regarding her attendance at college. And Megan attends Altoona Bible Institute, and when she gets done and plugging along in 2022, right?
Yes.
Right. She'll be able to have a certificate that will allow her to be a lay minister. So that's exciting. So Megan, tell us a little bit, why did you decide to take that tack? Why did you decide to go to Altoona Bible Institute?
Well, this for me has always been a path that I've been interested in being on. But I didn't know exactly how to do that because I was certain that the path of college and then seminary, that would be too difficult for me. And then a few years ago, I attended a Bible study with my grandmother, and one of the gentlemen actually taught there, and I was really interested about what that was, and I went and observed and prayed about it and started the next semester. Love it.
And you're doing really well, right?
Yes.
I know when you first started,
really
we would get little messages about it. It's finals night. Please pray for me. We still pray for you, but I think you're doing just fine with God's help, huh?
Yes.
And is
Couldn't
your mom?
do it without them.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So you had told me, you had shared with me that you had an experience at camp that reconnected you in some way to want to go down this path of learning.
Well, I kind of walked away from God because of my disability. Just not understanding why he would do that. And then Journey and Friends, which we've talked about quite a lot, my first year, I just realized that he did make me this way for a reason, and there is a purpose. And I just felt kind of from then on that I had to find what my purpose was.
Right. That's very commendable, Megan, and I know that one of the reasons you shared with me of why you wanted to go to school is you wanted to show that just because you have a disability doesn't mean you can't achieve your goals.
Yes, it's very hard and very difficult at times, but with the help of my parents, and I'm doing very well. I get frustrated, but I'm doing well.
Well, that's just all part of it, right? That's college.
Yes. Yes.
Welcome to college.
What's the course of study called? What kind of a certificate are you pursuing, or what do you?
I will be able to be a lay minister when I'm finished, meaning I won't be a certified preacher, but I could fill in if there was someone, in this area that couldn't preach. Now, obviously, it's the added component of that church would have to be, wheelchair accessible. But.
Right.
One of the things we like to talk about is, churches are wheelchair accessible sometimes, but they aren't always accessible to the pulpit. And one of the people that that we talked to Ginny Thornburg, who is the governor. Her husband was the previous governor of Pennsylvania, and they have a daughter with some disabilities. And one of the programs that she's been working on has been to ramp the front of churches. She feels like even if a person without a disability, doesn't need to go up there, the fact that you don't have a ramp indicates that you can't go up there. And so you might be an advocate in church. You'll be going into churches and saying, okay, if I'm going to come in here and read scripture up front or do something up front, you're going to have to put a ramp up for me.
Yeah, that will be a challenge once I do get the certificate.
Well, and I think that goes. I'm not supposed to talk so much about my experiences this week with the Summer Institute, but one of the topics at the Summer Institute was welcoming, making sure that you were able to welcome people, and to be able to have access to the pulpit or not to have access to the pulpit almost is a exclusion. You're saying people with a disability or who can't get up those stairs aren't welcome at that pulpit. So it's all part of the welcoming process, I think, to think that through.
I absolutely agree with that.
So what are some of the hardest things about school for you? Are there any sort of things that you've had to overcome as part of the process?
Yeah, there are quite a few. Because I am legally blind, in addition to the CP, some of my courses will have books, but the problem is the books are so old that they're not available in an audio format, and the print is really, really small, so my mother has to read the books to me.
Wow, so she's getting an education too.
Yeah.
Right.
Is your mom going to get a certificate?
No, but actually, they both should, because Dad takes me and takes notes and helps me, transcribes my tests and everything like that.
I never really thought about the fact that the older books wouldn't be available in audio format.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So that is a challenge.
They're not even in electronic format, so you can't. So
no,
a reader couldn't read them.
Like sometimes Google will have a scan of it, but it's not. There's no text version of it even.
See, for me, Megan, I don't know. When I learn, I can't learn from reading the computer. I have to print it out and highlight it and underline the things that are important to me. So I admire you for being able to learn that way.
So what have been
Well,
some...
I do.
go ahead.
I have to memorize it. That's what I do.
That's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
What have been your favorite courses so far? Like, what you have already enjoyed, or what are you looking forward to in terms of studying?
Well, this semester I took Revelation and Psalms, which they were both pretty amazing classes. And then also Daniel was really interesting. I'm also looking forward to, in the future, the book of Romans. I think that'll be a really good book.
Now, do you think you'll will you actually have a class in every book, or?
I know Romans they do for sure. Romans, Matthew,
Yeah.
The major books.
Yeah.
Some of the courses are only 12 weeks. So you're obviously not going to cover, like Psalms was only one semester. So you didn't cover the entire book of Psalms.
Uh-huh. Did you have to learn the outlines or the major themes, or what was?
What you did, yeah. You learned the major themes, and then he might give an assignment and say, okay, you have to read Psalm 93 and write down the blessings, or something of that nature.
Yeah. There's a lot of people jealous of you. You're causing people to break the 10 Commandments. People coveting, because it really is a cool opportunity to get the time and to have a teacher really walking you through very carefully. That's really a special opportunity that you're getting to.
How big is your class, Megan? How many classmates do you have?
Well, like some of the classes I only have like 3 or 4, but like if they're first year classes, there can be several. Like, this particular thing that I'm doing, it can either be 3 years taking it 2 nights a week, or 6 taking it 1. And for me, 3 classes is my limit, pretty much, because of the memorization. So that's why it's going to take longer than maybe someone else that can, see the stuff. And
yeah, well, slower is better probably anyway. You get to really
get more out of it, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it could go by too fast, and you're almost cramming rather than learning. I'm sure some of that happens anyway. If anybody has any questions for Megan, we'd be glad for you to ask them. We're interested in encouraging other people who might be interested in doing theological studies to at least benefit from Megan's experience and knowledge on the subject. Have they had other people with disabilities in the program before, or are you blazing new territory?
I believe I am the first person.
Uh-huh. And but they've been pretty good about it. Sounds like they even encouraged you to do it.
They've been excellent about it. They're very encouraging. Always say hello and very polite. And
well, it's easy to strike up a relationship with you, Megan. I think your heart is so big that people recognize that and they sense it, and it's fun to do things with you. So,
well, thank you.
They're lucky to have you there too.
It's a blessing. It really is. I've learned so much.
So Megan, Anna Marie says that she doesn't know about this program, and it's really cool to hear you talk about it. And sense your passion for the love of Christ.
Well, and that's for me, the root of everything is the love of Christ. Because without Him, I couldn't get through anything.
That's for all of us, Megan. That's true. We talked so. Is this any? Pardon my ignorance, but I'm going to ask this question because I really don't know. So you're having this theological training, and is it any specific religion that you're pointing towards, or?
No, it is a non-denominational school.
Mm-hmm.
Because they want people of any denomination to be able to go and to learn and maybe, help teach Sunday school or whatever they choose to do.
I never thought about that. Have you ever thought about teaching Sunday school?
I've never thought about that. What I would like to do once I finish this degree certificate is somehow work in disability ministry. I'm not quite sure what that'll look like yet, but
yeah, there'll be good opportunity. We actually at the conference we met somebody who had a seminary degree, and she was blind. Do you remember we walked over from?
Oh yes.
But she actually was a little bit discouraged because she was having trouble. She wanted to be a pastor, and she wasn't able to get a pastor job, and so she was a little bit discouraged about that.
So she was at the Institute exploring options, and I think she was pleasantly surprised. I talked to her a little bit the second day, and she was a little more encouraged. So
good.
Glad to hear that.
Good. So one of the things that we wanted to talk to you all about who are watching, and get your feedback. You're our regular sort of hangout crew, and we had this idea that we would utilize Megan from time to time, just because she's getting such rich education at seminary. Although you're going to be off for the summer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So when do you go back?
I just finished last night for the summer. September I go back after Labor Day.
Yeah. So in particular, I mean, we'll have some time here, but we'd like to utilize some of the teaching and inspiration that Megan has even gotten at school. Maybe you can do a little bit of talking to us about Revelation, or something like that on what you learned. But we had this idea that maybe Megan could come on and do some contemplative thoughts. Maybe have her just present her heart. I sort of think of it as Megan's heart, which is really what it's not so much the training, the education, or the theology or anything like that, but I wanted to have an opportunity for us to talk and to be challenged spiritually with one another. We've done the show now for 6 months. I think we're actually right about 6 months.
Mm-hmm. It's amazing.
And maybe longer. I'd have to.
Might be just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we really haven't included spiritual content. We've tried to make it fun, and we didn't want it to be exclusive. We didn't want anyone to be left out, and so we've been careful about that. But we sort of thought, Megan, what were you had some questions about that? What do we want to ask people about your part in the show?
Well, I mean, is that something people are interested in? Do they want spiritual content? Are they open to that idea?
Yeah. So my vision for the show is that we could have little segments from time to time, and lots of people could come in. We could have. I remember when we did Meerkat, and we had Frank do a Meerkat show. I think it was Wednesday nights at midnight or something like that. That he did a show on wrestling on WWE.
That was the big Bada Boom Room. Or
yeah,
something.
Bada Boom Room. But so I'm open to all sorts of content. But my thinking is that in addition to what we've been doing, we would have these little segments, sort of like when you do your saying, or the joke of the week, or maybe we replace those, 1 week a month or something like that, and we have Megan come on and give us. Remember that deep thoughts with.
Jack Handy.
Yeah, with Jack Handy.
I do.
That's a Saturday Night Live. I think it was an old Saturday Night Live.
It's an old Saturday Night Live skit.
And they'd come on and they'd say deep thoughts with Jack Handy, and then they'd be like really silly thoughts. But that's what I was thinking, is that we'd have Megan's deep thoughts coming into the show, and it would give us a chance to react to it. So I'm interested in what you all think of that. Anybody that's watching, or even as you go on.
So Ruth's joined us, and Kristen's here, and we've got a lot of people online. So we really would like your feedback to see. We just want to make it entertaining and useful programming. So
we're not going to change the entertaining part of it. We're still gonna try to do some.
We still have plans.
Pouring water on Ida's head. And
no more
like
water
that.
on my head. We never know.
But it might be an opportunity to bring things in. So,
Anne Marie says it sounds great, and so does Kristen.
So I mean, we've even talked about a couple of stories that Megan has come across, and I just think that's the neat thing, is that you come across these resources by being at school, and there's probably even things that you've studied that you just take for granted, that you don't even realize how nice it would be for us to hear too.
Probably because sometimes you have to go through a course so fast, like Psalms I took, but it was only 12 weeks.
Right.
And so you go through it so fast and it's so rich, and you don't have time to really, truly appreciate it.
All right. Well, so as you all respond and give us your thoughts on that, we're gonna keep rolling with the show.
Sounds good.
If I can find where we are in the show. I need to find there's the presentation. So let me get us back to our right spot. So let's move on to Ida's saying.
Okay.
How's that sound to you, Ida?
I'm happy to do it.
So let me bring up your saying here, Megan. Well, we're still leave your voice on. But so we can still hear you if you talk, Megan. But we just have your face off the screen for now. So, Ida, tell us about your saying.
Okay. Again, we just had this thing at church where we celebrated all the people that have graduated, either high school or college, or moving on to their future. And so this particular saying was meaningful to me. The future is not someplace we're going to, but a place we're creating. The paths to it are not found, they are made. And that's a quote by Jane Garvey. And the picture in the background is a path, a path through the woods in the fall. And so it's just, we're creating, we're blazing the path. It's not there for us. We make them ourselves. So the choice is yours. You can make a difference in the world, whether it's a good difference or a bad difference. The choice is yours. You create your own path.
I've been reading about Jean Vanier a little bit, who he passed away a couple of weeks ago, and he's a major influence in lots of people with disabilities. He started what's called the L'Arche communities, if you've never heard of Jean Vanier. But so much of he started in 1964, so he's one of the fathers of disability, and there's lots of people that we read that are standing on his shoulders. But one of the things that he talks about is how life is, how we think of life as a constant struggle to sort of find stability, but that's not really what life is. Life is a constant change. And so you're always searching for stability, but you're doing that within a world that's constantly moving. The future is always coming. And so it's not some place we're going to, but it's a place that we're creating as it comes along, and we're trying to, sometimes we'll fall down and have a problem, but we're trying to reestablish that. So that's what that saying reminds me of, Ida, is the that path that we're all walking down.
I'm going to give a shout out too while we're here, because a lot of times when you're doing these sayings of the week and creating them and making them lovely, like this one is, it requires to have a beautiful picture for the background. And there's all kinds of copyright issues related to using other people's photos, but a lot of times I use photos by a friend of mine, Andrea Duncan, who does these photographs, Enjoy the Journey. And she actually not only encourages me to use them, she thanks me when I use her pictures. And it's just such a gift to us, Andrea, that you do that for us. So thank you so much for sharing your photos with us. I've got several sources for that, but it seems like Andrea's have come up a lot lately. So I just wanted to give
And
a
you're
shout
saying
out
there's
to
a
her.
website called Enjoy the Journey?
She has, that's her website, Enjoy
where
the
there's
Journey
where some of these photos exist? Or?
I don't know how she shares them there, so
Yeah.
just
Oh, take a look.
she a lot of times has them on Facebook.
So let's continue. Let's bring up our joke
Oh boy!
of the week. We've got Jeff Owen doing the joke of the week this week. Jeff is one of our board members. He was on the show once.
We got to have Jeff back.
Yep, and he's quite a guy. He's a great friend of the ministry, and this is Jeff. We think it's with his daughter. I can't really absolutely positively tell.
I think it's his daughter.
But anyway, Jeff's joke this week, the words that we put in his mouth are, Jeff is an attorney.
Yeah, it's important to know.
So this is an attorney joke. Which there's all sorts of attorney jokes, so this is just one of. This is the worst one we could find.
Our jokes are always pretty bad.
So Jeff, the joke of the day, the joke of the week is: a man sued an airline after his luggage was misplaced.
Yeah.
Which definitely sounds like the kind of thing that you might want to do. Sadly, he lost his case.
Oh my. Okay. Yes. We do look for the most pathetic jokes. Well, of all the attorney jokes, though, that was kind of okay.
Yeah. Sometimes they're a little rough on attorneys. So
you got that picture of Jeff with his granddaughter. It makes me laugh because she's got a little bow on her head, so he decided that he needed a bow on his head too.
In our closing montage, we have a bunch of pictures, and one of the pictures is of Jeff and I wearing a cowboy hat. And on that trip, he brought back like a whole cowboy outfit for his granddaughter, including a little riding pony.
Yes,
so.
he carried that horse around the airport.
So he definitely loves his grandchildren.
Yes, he does.
So that's the joke of the day.
Thank you, Jeff.
And sadly, we're going to bring the show to a close on YouTube right now. So thank you for coming by. We do a little bit more on Facebook where we do an informal part of the show, but this show has been informal. If you want, you can take a look at various recommended videos, both down below in the comments and over right down here. There's some recommended. Actually, over there in that box over there, there's some recommended videos, a recommended video. So take a look. Thanks for coming. We always like to say, because we think people are really important, that relationships matter a lot, and so we always close with this saying. We hope that it doesn't become too trite in people's minds, but the idea is that you're uniquely the same. I'm uniquely the same, but together we could change the world. Thanks for coming by.